Inshallah, we'll continue with our tafsir today. Ayah number 60. Ayah number 60, the third story in Surah Al-Kahf. We did the narration part yesterday, the entire story I read to you from the hadith perspective. And now we're going to go into the ayat. So it's going to be just a review of what we did yesterday with a bit more lessons. And if time permits, we can also talk about the fourth story of Dhul Qarnayn. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذ قال موسى لفتاه لا أبرح حتى أبلغ مجمع البحرين أو أمضي حقبا رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي نستغفر الله ربنا من كل ذنب ونتوب إليك ربنا زدنا علما اللهم يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير يا فتاح يا فتاح يا فتاح آمين يا رب العالمين. So we begin. And remember when إذ قال موسى لفتاه, when Musa alayhi salam said to his slave, his companion, we said that he had a companion by the name of Yusha bin Nun, right, who later on became a prophet. So him and his companion, his bestie, his friend are traveling for knowledge. And he says to his servant, لا أبرح حتى أبلغ مجمع البحرين. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep traveling and traveling and traveling until I see the place where the two seas meet. This shows again the passion of Musa alayhi salam for knowledge. I want to learn knowledge. Doesn't matter how far it is, how much time it takes. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to do it. أو أمضي حقبا, or even I have to travel for ages upon ages, even if it takes me 80,000 years to get to that place, I will still travel. فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَجْمَعَ بَيْنِهِمَا, then finally when he reached the place where the two seas meet, نَسِيَ حُوتَهُمَا, they forgot the fish. Remember what happened? They were sleeping and the fish came to life and it made a tunnel into the sea. فَاتَّخَذَ سَبِيلَهُ فِي الْبَحْرِ سَرَبًا, it took its way into the sea and made a tunnel. فَلَمَّا جَاوَزَ, then when they passed that place, they continued traveling and they forgot about it, right? Specifically, the slave, the companion, he forgot about it. But continues, فَلَمَّا جَاوَزَ, both of them continue. قَالَ لِفَتَاهُ, he said to his servant, آتِنَا غَدَاءَنَا, bring us our breakfast. لَقَدْ لَقِينَا مِنْ سَفَرِنَا هَذَا نَصَبًا, no doubt in this journey we have exhausted ourselves. Now I want you guys to imagine, Musa alayhi salam is used to traveling. He has traveled, if you remember, from Egypt to Madian. He ran away from Egypt to Madian, all alone, long journey in the desert. He's used to that. He was traveling with his family and he saw fire on top of the mountain, right? He's also used to that journey. Then he came back to Egypt. Then he took Bani Israel and he crossed the Red Sea and there was long journey in the desert. Remember that? And then he went up to the mountain and they worshipped the golden calf. So Musa alayhi salam is used to traveling a lot. But in this journey, he says, this journey is really difficult. I did not find an exhaustion like I find here, like I feel here. That tells us something, that the path of knowledge is difficult. The path of knowledge is difficult. Islam is never acquired on bed of roses. Islam is never acquired on bed of roses. You have to struggle. You have to go through pain. No pain, no gain, they say. No pain, no gain. You have to put effort in it. That's what the hadith is saying, that there's a hadith, a beautiful hadith, where the Prophet says, مَنْ سَلَكَ طَرِيقًا يَلْتَمِسُ فِيهِ عِلْمًا, whoever takes a path to knowledge, Allah makes his path to Jannah easy. Whoever takes a path to knowledge, Allah makes his path to Jannah easy. The path of knowledge is nothing but the path of Jannah. When you leave in the morning with the intention that I'm going to learn Quran, I'm going to learn the worldly sciences, whoever takes the path to knowledge is taking the path to Jannah. So it's going to be full of difficulties. So when you leave in the morning with the intention that I'm going to learn Quran, I'm going to learn the worldly sciences, if that's your intention, and may Allah forbid, if death comes to you on the way, some accident happens, something happens, you pass away, guess what? You go straight to Jannah, because you're on the path of jihad. You're on the path of knowledge. You're on the path of getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you are guaranteed Jannah, inshallah, bi'ithnillah. So let's continue. قَالَ أَرَأَيْتَ إِذْ أَوَيْنَا إِلَى الصَّخْرَةِ فَإِنِّي نَسِيتُ الْحُوتِ. He says, where is our breakfast? Where is the fish? Oh my God, Musa, I forgot. Remember when we took refuge, when we rested there by the rock? There I forgot about it. وَمَا أَنْسَانِيهُ إِلَّا الشَّيْطَانِ. I did not forget, but rather shaitan made me forget it. وَاتَّخَذَ سَبِيلَهُ فِي الْبَحْرِ عَجَبًا. And the fish took its way into the sea surprisingly. It was a miracle that I saw. And what we learn here from this ayah, I mentioned this yesterday, that shaitan is going to be the biggest obstacle in learning knowledge. Shaitan is going to be the biggest enemy because he doesn't want you to go to Jannah and he doesn't want you to learn knowledge. Right? And if you see shaitan around, you say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, and kick them out. Okay? And so here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying shaitan will come in many different ways. He could come in the form of a friend. Shaitan can come in the form of whispers. Shaitan can come in the form of phone or notifications. Shaitan can come in many different forms. You need to learn to cut yourself off and focus on learning. قَالَ ذَلِكَ مَا كُنَّا نَبْغِي. Hey, that is exactly what we were looking for. فَأَرَدْتُ فَارْتَدَّ عَلَى آثَارِهِمَا قَصَصًا. And so they took their traces back. Remember, it was 1 day journey. They already went ahead 1 day. Now they had to come back 1 day of journey following their footsteps. They were like, okay, well, we're right here. We took a turn from this tree. Let's trace back. Let's keep going. Again, difficulty in knowledge. Again, don't be shy. Sometimes what will happen is you try a lot to learn something, but you fail. Don't give up, but go back and try again. Go back and try again. Don't give up. Knowledge is going to be difficult, but practice and practice and practice. And so these people, they went off the course. They don't mind tracing back and going through that difficulty. فَوَجَدَ عَبْدًا مِّنْ عِبَادِنَا. Finally, when they came across that place where the two seas meet, they found a servant from the servant of ours. The title Khidr alayhi salam gets is عَبْدًا مِّنْ عِبَادِنَا. What an honor he gets, right? True fruit of knowledge. How do you know if you have true knowledge or not? It is going to be your ibadah, your worship. If you have worship, then you have true knowledge. You may know some people who don't know anything about Islam, just a bare minimum, but they have the fear of Allah. They are more knowledgeable than somebody who has the entire Quran memorized. Somebody who has all tafsir done, he knows every ayah really in and out, but he doesn't have the fear of Allah. He's nobody compared to somebody who has no knowledge, but he has a fear of Allah. He knows how to stay away from haram. So Allah is saying here that he was an abda min ibadina, atinahu rahmatan min indina, and we gave a special mercy to him. Now always remember in the Quran, knowledge and mercy is linked together. Whatever knowledge is mentioned, mercy is mentioned. Love is mentioned. The biggest love of Allah is knowledge. If Allah gives you knowledge, that shows that He is in deep love with you. How do you know if Allah loves you or not? He'll give you knowledge. Ar-Rahman, Allama al-Quran. Rahman, linked to Allama, teaching Quran. If you're learning Quran, if you're understanding Quran, memorizing Quran, whatever you're doing with the Quran, know that that is a sign that Allah loves you. Right? In the month of Ramadan, if you're getting closer to Quran, that means Allah has a special love for you. And so we need to check ourselves, how much Quran do we love? How much are we attached to the Quran? That shows how much Allah loves us, how pure our heart is. What Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu, he says something beautiful. He says that if our hearts were clean, then we would never stop reading Quran. The cleaner the heart, the more the recitation of the Quran, the more the understanding of the Quran. But if you feel like after 2-3 minutes, you're like, I'm done. Let me watch something. Let me do something. That means something is off with our heart. Right? Something is off with our heart. The purer the heart is, because purity loves purity. If the heart is pure, it will love the purest thing that is the Quran. If the heart is filled with filth, it will love filthy things. Filthy, dramas. Filthy things you want to consume, because the heart is full of filth. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our hearts. فَوَجَدَ عَبْدًا مِّنْ عِبَادِنَا آتِينَاهُ رَحْمَةً مِّنْ عِنْدِنَا. So knowledge and rahmah is linked together. مِّنْ عِنْدِنَا وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. On top of that, we taught him a special knowledge from us. We gave him a knowledge that other people did not have. قَالَ لَهُ مُوسَى. Musa alayhi salam goes to the teacher now. Now look, Musa alayhi salam is not arrogant. He's thinking, well, I am the Prophet of Allah. I am the most knowledgeable. Right? Who can teach? Who can be more knowledgeable than me? No. The true fruit of knowledge is humility. That if you have knowledge, how do you know if you have true knowledge or not? The more knowledge you have, the more you know how ignorant you are. Okay? The more knowledge you have, the more you know of the things that you don't know. If you feel that you are the most ignorant human being on earth, that is a sign that you have knowledge. The moment you feel like I know everything, that is a sign of ignorance. Okay? The more knowledge you have, the more you know that you don't know. The more knowledge you have, the more you would know that you don't know anything. Okay? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Musa alayhi salam, or Musa salam says to the teacher, هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني? Oh Khidr, could you please teach me from what Allah has taught you? Could you please teach me? Look at the adab here. How does a student ask the teacher for knowledge? Teach me. No, not like that. With humility, with respect. Could you please? I'm having a hard time understanding this, teacher. Could you please explain? Rather than saying, you're wrong. I got you there. You made a spelling mistake. You don't say that. I think, teacher, I am having a hard time understanding this. You're up there, I'm right here. I'm not able to get to your level. Rather than saying, you're not there, you come down. You're at this level, teacher. You made a mistake. No, that's not the way to ask. The way to ask question is, could you please help me understand? I'm having a hard time understanding this. This is adab. Adab in teaching. When the teacher walks in, you have to have respect that you get up and give your seat to the teacher. Please have a seat. If you're sitting, you stand up. Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Out of respect. But the Prophet ﷺ himself, he says, I don't want to be arrogant and tell you guys to stand up. But Allah tells us, when the Prophet ﷺ enters a room, you should stand up for him. The Sahabas would stand up for him. He would. When Rasul's mother walked in, he would stand up and put his shawl, his shawl on the floor for her to sit. So standing up for somebody older than you, superior to you, is from the Sunnah. But the person himself will say, don't do that for me. But somebody else will teach you that you have to do that. So this is all part of adab with the teacher. So he's saying, هل أتبعك هل لك عن, right? That's how you ask in Arabic. Could you please? هل لك عن, أتي الماء, or something like that. You say, could you please give me something, right? هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني? Could I please follow you? Could I please learn from you? مما علمت رشدا, from what Allah has taught you. Look at this. Musa as-salam does not say to Khidr, could you please teach me from what you know? No. From what you are taught. Ulimta is madi majhul. From what you are taught. Because Musa as-salam is saying that all knowledge goes back to Allah. No knowledge comes from anybody. Remember, what we have is what Allah taught us. Could you please teach me from what Allah taught you? So when you learn knowledge, you should not be like, yeah, I know everything. I know everything. No. Rather, I don't know. Rather, what Allah has taught me. قَالَ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. He says, no, you cannot have patience with me. This knowledge, you can't have patience. It's impossible. وَكَيْفَ تَصْبِرُ عَلَى مَا لَمْ تُحِطَ بِهِ خُبْرًا. And how can we have patience over things that you don't encompass knowledge in? That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not show us certain things, does not teach us certain things. Why? Because we don't have the capacity to take it. We don't have the capacity to take it. Inshallah, in the hereafter, we'll have that capacity to see things, to hear things, and comprehend things. قَالَ سَتَجِدُنِي إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ صَابِرًا. And so what does Musa say? If, inshallah, you will find me from those who are patient. وَلَا أَعْصِي لَكَ عَمْرًا. I will not disobey you in any matter. Okay? So again, here we see that I will have patience. Patience is key in knowledge. If you want to gain knowledge, patience is everything. قَالْ فَإِنِ اتَّبَعْتَنِي. So Khidr says, fine. If you want to follow me, فَلَا تَسْأَلْنِي عَنْ شَيْءٍ حَتَّى أُحْدِثَ لَكَ مِنْهُ ذِكْرًا. Don't ask me about anything until I tell you. فَانْطَلَقَا. So they proceeded, they went forward. حَتَّى إِذَا رَكِبَا فِي السَّفِينَةِ خَرَقَهَا. Until they came near the ship, and he cracked the ship. قَالَ أَخْرَقْتَهَا لِتُغْرِقَ أَهْلَهَا لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا إِمْرًا. Hey, what's wrong with you? Have you pierced the ship in order to drown the people? You have indeed done a grave thing. قال ألم أقل إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. O Musa, did I not tell you that you will not have patience with me? That you will not understand me? قال لا تؤاخذني بما نسيت. Do not question me for what I forgot. ولا ترهقني من أمري عسرا. And not make me suffer for my affairs. Right? I have made a mistake. I have forgotten, completely forgot. I'm sorry. So the teacher can make excuses for the student if they forgot. Strike one. Fine, no problem. One excuse. Go ahead. فَانْطَلَقَا حَتَّى إِذَا لَقِيَ غُلَامًا فَقَتَلَهُ. Then they continued on. I mentioned this already yesterday. I'm not going to go in details. They continue on and they came across a young boy and he strangled his neck and he killed him. غُلَامًا فَقَتَلَهُ. He killed him. قال قتلت نفسا زكية بغير نفس لقد جئت شيئا نكرا. Have you killed an innocent person? Right? And you have done an abominable thing. And now Musa ﷺ asks question for the second time. Strike two. Right? And what is this? قال ألم أقل لك إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. For the Hufaz here who have memorized Surah Al-Kahf, you know that the first time he says ألم أقل إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. Second time he says ألم أقل لك is added there. Laka, extra laka is added. Why? That shows the anger. Khidr alayhi salam, the teacher is getting a little angry. Didn't I tell you? Again, the tone gets a little harsher. Okay, the laka is added to show that anger there. إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. And then Musa says, قَالَ سَأَلْتُكَ عَنْ شَيْءٍ بَعْدَهَا فَلَا تُصَحِبْنِي. Last time, if I ask you for one more time. You look, he does not say, this time I forgot. This time Musa did not forget. He just could not take it in. He knows he's violating the laws, but he still had to ask. Okay? One thing we learn here is that the student should always listen to the teacher. No matter what the teacher does, the student should listen to it. But on the flip side, we learn another beautiful lesson here. Is that from Musa alayhi salam's perspective, he has to question this. Because the Sharia is telling, Dawrah is telling, killing an innocent soul is sin. So if you are a scholar, if you know the book of Allah, and you see that something is happening against the book of Allah, you have to stop it. It is incumbent on you to stop the people if they do something against the Sharia. Quran is saying certain things. Don't drink alcohol. And you see beer stores everywhere. You have to feel something bad about it. You have to work on stopping that. Quran is saying that zina is haram. And you see people committing zina, adultery. You have to stop it. It is incumbent on you. And that's something we learn from Musa as as a person of knowledge, as a person who knows the Sharia. He's saying, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. That's a side point we're learning here. But again, he's not supposed to question that. Okay? قَالَ سَأَلْتُكَ عَنْ شَيْءٍ بَعْدَهَا فَلَا تُصَعِبْ. Musa does not give excuse this time. Yeah, I said it on purpose, but this is the last time. If I say one more time, don't accompany me. فَلَا تُصَاحِبْنِي قَدْ بَلَغْتَ مِنْ لَدُنِّي عُذْرًا. You have attained an excuse, final chance from me. Side points here also, learning is not only in a classroom, but also through experience. Experiential learning we talked about yesterday as well. Right? And also, another thing we learn here is tusahibni. Companionship is important with the teacher. Spending time with the teacher. You know, the scholars in the past used to spend years together with the teacher, learning from the teacher. Right? Learning from their adab, learning from their fajr, learning from their tahajjud, learning from their dealings and everything. So the suhbah of the teacher is very important. فانطلقا. They continued on. إذا أتي أهل قرية استطعما أهلها فأبوا. When they came across the people of village, they asked for food, but then they refused. أن يضيفوهما. They were not hospitable. فوجد فيها جدارا يريد أن ينقض فأقاما. And as they were leaving, they found a wall that was almost about to collapse. So he fixed it up. فأقاما. قال لو شئت لاتخذت عليه أجرا. Musa says, hey, these guys were not very good and you fixed the wall. You could have asked for some payment. Why don't you ask for any, some compensation for your work? قال هذا فراق بيني وبينك. This is it. You and me now separate. We are done. Okay, strike 3, no more. So a teacher can become strict. A teacher can put laws here, put rules here, saying that, you know what? This is it. These are the conditions. If your assignment does not come on time, not accepting it. First chance, fine, but after that, no. Or second chance, third, no. Boom. So you can have conditions in place. Teacher can be strict. It's completely fine. You have to learn to become a better student. Let me tell you about why I did what I did. Let me explain to you. Okay? As for the ship, فَكَانَتْ لِمَسَاكِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ فِي الْبَحْرِ. It belonged to the poor men who were working in the sea. They were poor men, masakin. They were barely hand to mouth. Okay? And the ship was the only way of them surviving. فَأَرَدْتُ أَنْ أَعِيبَهَا. I caused a defect. I made it defective. وَكَانَ وَرَاءَهُمْ مَلِكٌ يَأْخُذُ كُلَّ سَفِينَةٍ غَصْبًا. Why? Because behind the river, on the other side of the river, you had a king who was seizing every good ship. So we made a crack so that the ship can pass through. So the king does not take the ship because he will see it's defective and will let it go. And so that's why it caused the defect. What we're learning here is that helping the poor against the tyrants is important. It's part of knowledge. If you have true knowledge, you will help the oppressed. Today you have people in Palestine who are oppressed by the tyrants. What are you doing to help them? What aid are you providing them? This is part of knowledge. True knowledge is helping the oppressed. فَأَرَدْنَا وَأَمَّا الْغُلَامِ. As for the boy, فَكَانَ أَبُوهُ مُؤْمِنَيْنِ. This boy, his parents were both believers. فَخَشِينَا أَن يُرْهِقَهُمَا طُغْيَانًا وَكُفْرًا. So we feared that this boy will cause transgression and disbelief. فَأَرَدْنَا. So we intended, meaning Khidr and Allah together, أَن يُبْدِلَهُمَا رَبُّهُمَا مِنْهُ خَيْرًا مِنْهُ زَكَاةً. That we intended that their Rabb should exchange them with someone better than them. And that son is going to be closer in affection and purer. I want you guys to focus on the pronouns here. I'm going to get to that in a bit, inshallah. وَأَمَّا الْجِدَارِ. As for the wall, it belonged to two orphans. غُلَامَيْنِ يَتِيمَيْنِ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ. وَكَانَ تَحْتَهُ كَنْزُ لَهُمَا. Behind the wall was the treasure. وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا. And their father was righteous. So we intended that they should reach the age of maturity and they could take the treasure. We wanted the treasure to be protected so that when they become mature, they can extract this wealth. رَحْمَةً مِّن رَبِّكَ. As a mercy from your Rabb. وَمَا فَعَلْتُهُ عَنْ أَمْرِي. I did not do this of my own accord. I did not do this with my own on my own. ذَلِكَ تَأْوِيلُ مَا لَمْ تَسْطِعْ عَلَيْهِ صَبْرًا. Meaning this was from Allah. Allah inspired me to do this. Allah gave me this knowledge and Allah inspired me to do this. And that is an interpretation which you could not have patience. You could not be patient with us. Okay, a few things here. One thing we learn from these three explanations here is that evil is never attributed to Allah. Anything evil happens, you don't say Allah did this evil. No. Why? Look at the pronouns here. First time, he cracked the ship. Right? The boat was cracked. And so what does he do? This is bad. Inherently bad. Everything about it is bad. Cracking the ship is bad. So he says, I intended. I did this. I cracked the ship. Second one, he killed the boy. In that he says, we did it, me and Allah. Because the bad part belongs to me. I killed the boy. That's the bad part. I did that. But Allah is going to replace him with someone better. That's Allah doing it. So we is mentioned because it's me doing the bad part and Allah doing the good part. The third thing was fixing the wall. Fixing the wall is only good. There's no bad in it. And so he says Allah wanted the wall to be fixed. He doesn't mention himself. Beautiful. Those pronouns are happening like that. What are we learning here? Anything good comes from Allah. Anything evil comes from us. Anything good, all good, comes from Allah. Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam. You are peace and all peace comes from you. And all chaos and evil comes from our own self and from shaitan. That's why this should be the habit. A sunnah that many scholars follow even today is after they give a lecture or after they do something good, they say anything good I have said is from Allah. Anything bad or evil or negative is from myself and from shaitan. This is how you say. You never say, yeah, I did that. It's all because of me. No, goodness always from Allah. Evil comes from us and from shaitan. Here is a beautiful sunnah. We see the same sunnah followed by Ibrahim a.s. Ibrahim a.s. says something beautiful. وَالَّذِي. Who is Allah? He's describing who Allah is. Okay? Which surah is this? وَالَّذِي يُطْعِمُنِي وَيَسْقِينَ. Surah. وَالَّذِي هُوَ يُطْعِمُنِي وَيَسْقِينَ. وَالَّذِي يُمِيتُنِي ثُمَّ يُحْيِينَ. وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ. Testing the hufaz here on the spot. وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ. وَالَّذِي هُوَ يُطْعِمُنِي وَيَسْقِينَ. وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ. Very good. Excellent. Barakallah feek. وَالَّذِي هُوَ يُطْعِمُنِي. Allah is the one who feeds me. Allah is the one who feeds me. Not my dad, not my mom, not my own efforts. Allah feeds me. And Allah is the one who gives me drink. If I have water, because of Allah. Allah is the one who gave me life. Allah is the one who gave me death. But when I get sick, He cures me. Sickness, He doesn't say, Allah is the one who gives me sickness. No. Allah gave me life, Allah gave me that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala feeds me, Allah gives me drink. And Allah gives me sickness? No, sickness is something negative. So Allah is the one who gives me, no, I get sick. When I get sick, He cures me. وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينِ. This is the sunnah. Anything good from Allah, anything evil from our own self. Okay, and the last thing here is about being righteous parents, right? Righteous parents has an impact on the children, right? Abuhuma salihah. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that because of the parents, Allah protected their treasure. Okay? And also the importance of taking care of the orphans. Many of us neglect this. One of the first commands in the Quran is to take care of the orphans. People who don't have father specifically, but father and mother also. Specifically the father makes it an orphan. And so taking care of the children, right, is from is part of knowledge. True knowledge, we see, true knowledge is what? Serving humanity is true knowledge. True knowledge is not writing notes. True knowledge is not memorizing something. True knowledge is taking care of humanity. Helping the oppressed is true knowledge. Okay? Implementing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's law is true knowledge. Right? Taking care of the orphans is true knowledge. And so this orphan was taken care by abda min ibadina. And you take care of their wealth until they reach the age of maturity. Ashuddahuma, when they become mature, then you can hand over their wealth to them so they can take care of themselves. Okay? So overall, what we learn from this story of Musa and Khidr, I'm now going to go into the fourth story, I'll end off there inshallah. But what we learn from the story of Musa and Khidr is that be content with Allah's decision. Be content with Allah's decision. Whatever Allah does is for the good. Whatever Allah does is for the good. Right? And we may not understand the wisdom behind it, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the wisdom. And there is I shared this before, there was a daughter who was looking at a mother who was knitting a flower, right? A nice flower she was making, right? And what happens is, she comes from the other side and she sees all chaos on the other side. You see threads going all over the place, and she's saying, what is this chaos? Like, what is happening here? I don't see anything. Right? She sees from the other side. And the mother says, okay, come daughter, come on the other side and see from my view, from my perspective. And what does she see? A beautiful flower. Right? So, you may be cooking something, and somebody comes in the middle of your dish, like middle in the dish making, and somebody comes and sees the whole kitchen is a mess. Like all over the place, like you don't understand what's happening. What is this chaos? Wait for a bit and come after 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, you come and see, wow, this was the end results. So you have to go through chaos to see the beautiful result. So in your life, you may go through all these things in your life, and you may be seeing from one perspective. And people can become atheists. People can lose their iman. And think, what's happening? Where is Allah? Where is God? If God is there, so much evil would not happen. But Allah is saying there's a greater, thing here, rahmah here. Greater. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's love and mercy transcends this world. It's not limited to this world, it transcends to the akhirah. What is best for the person in akhirah, what's best for this person in the future is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can see and you and me cannot see. Our vision is limited. So the trial of knowledge is to say that I know everything. The way to fight that is, I know nothing. Whatever Allah taught me is through knowledge. That I need to be humble. These are all the trials of knowledge. Towards the end of time, this is the trial that we'll go through. And because of this, your mind is going to be corrupted. So don't fall for that. May Allah save us from that trial of knowledge. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to gain the true knowledge, inshaAllah. And we maybe become humble, that we attribute all knowledge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshaAllah. Ameen. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Inshallah, next class, which is on Monday, we will study the story of Dhul Qarnayn. Okay, inshallah. Barakallahu feek. You can stop.